Do you ever just sometimes like smell your own headset? Like, just like stick your face into the headset part of it and just sniff? Mine don't smell bad. That's good. It's because I shower every day and clean out my ears every time I shower. So, good. Anyways, hello everybody and welcome back to the stream. I'm your host, Carlos Spicy Wiener. And today, we're going to be doing Crystalline. I was playing Doki Doki Literature Club, realized my voice is not as up to par as it used to be, but we'll get it back to that. We'll get it back. Maybe I'm just not feeling good today. But Crystalline, everyone but me talks, so my character, I would only do my voice, and then everyone else has a voice, so it's pretty cool. Anyways, so there's that. I downloaded the original Doki Doki Literature Club, so had some fun with that. Gonna stream a little bit more. I'll play probably one more game as well. Excuse me. And then I'll probably call it a night. I'm trying to master different things to see what really piques my interest, what tickles my pickle in a sense. You know, Tetris or something. I'm gonna play something that's gonna entertain me. Tetris does sound like fucking fun. Do I still have the game? Let me see. Yes, I do. Cool. So I think I'll do that a little bit after some Crystalline. Or maybe some Nintendo Wii. I don't know. I have a lot of games and I just don't know what to play. I like playing a lot of games, but old games mainly. Alrighty then, so let's stretch. And okay, we're ready. So let's open this bad boy up. Let's open this circle pit. There. Alright. So let's open the game.
Among a million stars, we'll wish up there is ours. Maybe this time it all comes true.
Just checking my audio. Yep, okay, cool. Let's turn the volume up a little bit on this. There we go. Alright. Okay, so perfect. Turn it down maybe a little bit for the game. There. I've always liked the intro for this game. Like, this was a really well done intro. And it always made me happy to see this intro. The people who created this game really put a lot of effort. And if I recall, someone from the stream suggested I play this. It was on Steam. And I guess they had a bundle and I bought a bunch of other ones with it. And I gotta say, this is really well done. I mean, of course, generic giant boobied anime girls. But, I mean, for the most part, it's still pretty good. Also, like, I like how this part all right here is like high res, but watch, in a couple seconds it gets like low res. Let me see, is it here? Or did I already miss it? I don't remember. Trying to think how I can make this work here. So I'm getting part of the. Oh, that's right. I gotta hide my toolbar. There. There we go. Alrighty. There we go. Alright, so load. Alright, so there's our. Okay, so that's the last time we even touched it. Was in June 25th, 2020. Jesus, we've spent almost 2 hours on it, though. Damn. Wait, what the fuck? I don't remember where we left off, so here we go. As we walk, another ominous rumble sends butterflies to my stomach. I can't shake off the feeling that we are literally walking into a fire. I glance at the others, who seem unfazed. I guess it's just me. Pushing my insecurities down, I silently follow the group towards the temple. Just as Elder Ism noted, the temple is a short walk out of the village on a well-worn dirt path. The road is mostly empty, with only one or two travelers coming back towards the village. The temple is an open structure with a roaring fire in the middle of a grand hall. High columns with flames carved into them hold up the building. Adorning the stone walls are beautiful tiled mosaics. There is one wall with some strange symbols scratched out on them. They're very faded, and I have to squint to make it out. From what I can make out, 4 symbols surround a darkness in a square, with a line of fire enclosing the perimeter, trapping a darkness in the center. Huh. I wonder what that is. Amelia glances over, then peers at the carving.
Those symbols represent each of the magical elements.
She points to each one.
There is fire, water, earth, and wind.
Then she points to the center.
And that is shadow.
I've never considered shadow an element before.
It is one of the elemental magics.
Kara, Zach, and Leanna have already moved on, so the rest of us hustle to catch up. Besides us, the only other people in the temple are the monks who care for it. They're dressed in woven red robes, in the same open and loose style as the villagers from Embermist. Quietly, they shuffle back and forth, sweeping the floor or relighting any of the smaller fires which may have burned low.
Hi.
The Pongo looks around in wonder and reverence. At the sight of giant flame, he squeaks and hops up on me, claiming his spot on my shoulder. Kara bows briefly before the large flame, then leads us to the back of the chamber and stops in front of an empty wall.
We're here.
Zach sighs. Why would we have made a mistake letting her join us? That's what I don't understand. She just got bouncy boobies. Kara might be a little out there, but I don't get the impression that she's stupid. There must be more to the wall than first meets the eye. Is there a mechanism hidden somewhere which triggers a doorway? Kara's eyes glitter.
Bingo.
Oh, so that's what it was. I like how when the game changes frames, it literally causes her to rejiggle, reanimate. With her gaze fixed on us, Kara pushes on a brick and a segment of the wall pushes in and swings open. She waves at the opening with a flourish.
Ta-da!
How did you know which brick to push in?
It usually depends, but in this case, there's one brick that sticks out slightly more than the others. If you weren't looking for it, you won't see it.
She heads through the opening and pushes the wall closed behind us. Someone dropped your bouncy balls, you might want to collect them. Then she leads us down a winding stone stairway, which ends at the beginning of a narrow passage. We file in behind her as she carefully picks her way down the hall. It's a very plain stone hallway, with walls sconces lighting away. I look down at my feet and notice a brick with an X marked on it. I should probably avoid it, but I kind of want to step on it, so I'm going to step on it. X marks the spot. I wonder what this does. Just as my foot lands on a brick, a click sounds. Kara looks back in alarm. I see something fly towards me. Just before it collides with my face, I'm shoved out of the way and fall heavily to the ground. Oof. The Pongo slides off my head and bounces back upright when he hits the ground. My body throbs from my fast landing on the ground. Once the aches begin to subside, I carefully sit up.
Are you okay?
Hello. Yeah, I'm fine. Leanna runs right past me and cuddles a Pongo.
You poor thing.
Hey. She glances at me.
Oh, are you okay?
Yeah. But what just happened?
You set off one of the traps.
I don't know why the breast physics are so bouncy. Is there a setting? Because that is just too much bounce. Like, she barely walks and it's like causing a tsunami. Maybe Choose under menu, configurations. Sound effects, ambience. Okay. Nope. So I guess that's just what it is. She points to an arrow embedded in a wall. There's another one right next to it.
Didn't you see the mark I left?
Yeah, you can't just mark something with an X and not expect them to investigate.
Sure I can. An X means stop.
She's looking at me like I'm an idiot. It's just, for me, it's too silly. Like, I get a little, breast jiggle, that's fine. No harm, no foul. But this is like, she barely like walks and just like just shakes like as if Jello was on an earthquake. I suppose that's true too.
Very curious.
Amelia appears at the crevice of the wall, trying to spot where the arrow flew from. Zack pulls on Amelia's shoulder and moves her out of the way.
You shouldn't put your face in front of a place where projectiles fly out of.
That's true.
They aren't all just arrows either. Some are much worse.
Leanna warily scans the surroundings.
Maybe we should keep moving.
Kara nods and resumes walking. The deeper we travel, the more X's I notice. Wow, there are a lot of traps in here. Zack pauses in front of a corridor where the walls are covered in X's.
Why are there so many X's on this wall?
Kara looks down the same passageway.
Oh, it's a two-part trap.
She points to a stone on the ground with the same X marking.
Basically, if you step on the ground stone, it triggers thick bars to shoot out from all the X's in the wall and block the path.
That doesn't sound too bad.
Only if you know how to limbo. The bars have something keeping them hot and will burn you if you touch it.
Okay, that sounds worse.
And you were able to cross that?
Kara winks.
I am very limber.
Jesus. I expected Zack to brush off her comment like he brushed off every other girl, but he actually looks impressed. Amelia looks between Zack and Kara.
Based on the dilation of Zack's pupils, it appears that Kara's flexibility is attractive to him.
Zack is taken aback.
I was just thinking that it's a useful skill set to have.
Fucking Amelia. Kara has a mischievous glint in her eyes.
Useful skill set to have. In what context?
Zack frowns.
For scouting and navigating, you've done a thorough job mapping this place out and marking the traps.
Leanna looks amused.
Zack, was that a compliment?
He glares at Leanna.
No, an observation.
Kara smiles playfully.
Then thank you for the observation.
Zack falls into silence before turning away. I think this is the most I've ever heard him talk in a 30-second span. We continue through the tunnels. Eventually, she stops in front of another well of fire in the middle of the hall.
The barrier's here.
I do remember something about a barrier, like we gotta take out a barrier. She gestures at the swirling metallic wall behind the well. The way that it glitters as it wisps and curls almost looks like a fire. Leanna and Amelia step closer and inch their hands in front of them before gingerly touching the barrier.
It's surprisingly solid for something that looks so gaseous. Maybe there's some wind magic interwoven with whatever other magic is here.
The Pongo hops forward with stars in his eyes.
Hi.
He dashes straight for the barrier.
Pongo, wait!
I stretch out my arm and race after him. Pongo, no! Instead of running into a wall, the Pongo passes straight through and out of sight. I'm pretty dramatic, so let's say why cruel world. Pongo! I land heavily against the barrier. Did he make it to the other side, or was he burned alive by this weird magic twisty flame-like thing? My legs grow weak at the thought, and I slide down the barrier. No! I bang on the obstruction. Give him back! Give back my Pongo!
Hi.
Blue head pops out of the barrier. What? He hops the rest of the way out.
Boy.
Then he leaps into my arms. I thought I'd never see you again. What was it like on the other side? He bounces up and down in my arms. Amelia places both of her hands back on the barrier where Leanna holds out her manipulator.
Whatever is beyond this wall hosts a plethora of energy.
Leanna nods.
My manipulator confirms that. No wonder the Pongo ran in there.
Zach continues to hang back and observe, but Kara steps closer to the barrier.
But how did he even pass through?
Leanna shrugs. Amelia continues studying the wall, moving her hands up and down.
I do not recognize this magic.
She frowns, deeply disturbed.
Is there anything you can do to break it?
Let's see.
Leanna and Amelia both put their hands on the barrier, their manipulators glowing. Each transmit pulses of magic which disperse across the surface in a shimmering wave. I think they're trying to create stress fractures to crack the wall. After a few tries, Leanna sighs in frustration, then steps back.
Amelia, stand back.
Uh-oh. She's busting out the big guns. It's getting serious now. She wordlessly obeys. Leanna gathers energy at her gauntlet, then strikes the barrier with an empowered strike. Suddenly, golden lettering forms on the barrier. Absolve your world to enter mine. What does that mean? No one answers. Amelia steps forward and focuses on the well of flickering flame.
If I am interpreting this message correctly, we must part with our most precious possession, our world, and throw it in the fire.
Leanna nods thoughtfully.
Kind of like we're freeing ourselves.
Kara's face drains of color and she clutches at her pack.
Are you sure?
Yes.
They stand around awkwardly until Leanna clears her throat.
If that's what we need to do, then it seems easy enough. I'll go first.
What could I sacrifice? So we're gonna say, okay, go ahead. I nod as Leanna steps up to the fire. Damn it. She reaches below her collar and slips a thin gold chain over her neck, then throws it into the flames. Taking a deep breath, she steps straight through the barrier. It worked! I'll go next. I step up to the fire. What do I choose? My waifu. Oh, that's a good one. You know what? Let's try throwing our waifu in there. I feel like that's my whole world right there. Because Pongo, I'd be sad if I lost. But at the same time, I wouldn't mind eating him. Maybe he'll be okay in the fire. I want to do waifu. Unfortunately, I didn't have waifu at this time. Damn it! Okay, I'll throw Pongo in the fire. I look around and my gaze lands on the Pongo. The last scare really wrecked me. I can't help that I've grown so fond of this little guy. I snatch up the Pongo who squeals. I love you, little buddy! He wriggles out my grasp and races back through the barrier. No!
Wow, I'm not thrilled to have to throw in my most precious items either, but even I wouldn't go so far as to sacrifice the Pongo.
It's not a sacrifice.
You just try to throw a living creature in the fire.
That's probably not the best idea I've had. And then there were two. I think we'll do... Let's do the playing cards because we bonded with those. I fish inside my pockets and grab my playing cards. I've had a lot of good memories with these cards. They help me break the ice with every move I made. I know I can count on them whenever the words fail me. Reluctantly, I toss them into the fire and watch the flames lop it up. Then I steal my reserve and step forward. Just as I reach the barrier, I slam painfully into it. Ow! Well, that didn't work.
You sure messed that up.
Can I do it again? She shrugs.
Normally you only get one chance for these things, but it's not like you've got anything to lose by trying again.
So it was my wallet the whole time. Really. I fish in my pockets and grab my wallet. My entire identity is in there. My license, student ID, and credit cards. The thought of parting with it makes my chest hurt. Reluctantly, I toss it into the fire and watch the flames lap it up. Then I steel my resolve and slowly step forward. As I cross through, I feel a tingle of energy and hear the crackle of electricity. There's a bright light. Fuck, that's bright. Blinding my vision, I have a flashback of my crossing of Terra. My foot lands on solid ground. I pass through the barrier unharmed. Oh fuck, now it is hella dark. Gradually, my eyes adjust to the dim light, and I see that I'm in a cozy room. How is this cozy? It's a girl and a wolf on fire. She's barely wearing clothes. In the middle of the room is a fox who swishes its tail as it observes me. Besides it is a beautiful woman with flaming red hair. Her delicate hand rests on top of the fox's head. As I look her over, her gaze lands on me. Who are you? The woman blinks at me, then smiles. For a second, I think I see the flames lighting the room flicker, and a warmth permeates my body. It's pleasant, like an embrace. Although she holds my gaze, she doesn't speak. How did you get here? Again, she remains silent, but this time she takes a step closer.
Who are you talking to?
Huh? I peek behind a woman and see Zack standing with an eyebrow raised and his arms crossed. The rest of my companions pause in their inspection of the room and stare at me. Kara stands beside an altar while Amelia and Leanna are both kneeling by the fox. The fox accepts their attention, rhythmically swishing its tail, but otherwise makes no move to respond. Instead, it fixes its attention on me.
Are you talking to the fox?
No. Clearly, I was speaking to the smoking hot woman in the room.
You mean her?
Ah!
You mean her?
Oh shit. The two of them speak simultaneously and stare at each other.
That was unexpected, but not unwelcome.
Oh my. Leanna blushes deeply while Kara smirks, and I catch both of them occasionally glancing at each other.
Who exactly are you seeing?
There's a woman dressed in red, and she's kind of flamey, and she's standing right there with her pet firefox. Leanna looks towards the fox, but her eyes glaze right over the woman. She furrows her brow, concerned.
Okay.
Her voice is gentle, like she doesn't want to spook me. None of you guys can see her? The group collectively shakes their heads. I don't know why you guys can't see her, but I promise you, she's there.
Boy.
The Pongo hops out from behind my legs. He first examines the woman with partial interest, and he stares in wonder at the fox.
Boy?
The fox cocks his head to the side and observes the Pongo. The Pongo perks up and cautiously bounces forward. He pauses right before the fox. The fox's nose wiggles as it sniffs at the Pongo. Then it swishes its tail and the Pongo squeaks before running back behind my legs.
Boy.
Wait, do you see her too?
Boy.
The woman giggles at the Pongo and gently pats his head. He shivers happily at her touch. Then she straightens up and takes a step closer. Her feet don't touch the ground, and her skirt floats ethnically behind her. Jesus. Instinctively, I back away.
What's going on?
She's getting closer. A lot closer. She pauses once she draws near and touches her palm to my forehead. A pulse of warmth flows through me before she retracts her hand. As if something inside me clicked open, I feel invigorated with restored strength. The stronger I feel, the more translucent the woman becomes. Soon, she disappears. The Pongo stares at me with renewed interest. It reminds me of that same look he gave to me when we first met. He licks his lips. Don't even think about it.
Boy.
The Pongo pouts and lets out a sad sigh. Damn, that's a jiggle. Kara waves her hands in front of my face.
Hey, are you okay? You kind of zoned out there for a second.
I think I'm fine.
What happened?
I'm not too sure.
Where's the woman now?
Actually, she's gone. Amelia reacts to my words by playing with her bracelets. She holds her manipulator up to me.
Curious. I may have a theory.
What is it?
All the energy which had accumulated here has now gathered within you.
I blink as it takes me a minute to register what she just said. Wait, I absorbed the energy? That can't be right.
As I mentioned, it is merely a theory.
Leanna looks intrigued.
How is that possible?
I don't know. I felt it after she touched me. Leanna's eyes widen.
I wouldn't phrase it like that.
Fucking Zach. Not in a weird way. She just touched my forehead and suddenly I felt a rush of energy. Amelia stares hard at me. Why are you looking at me like that?
I am merely anticipating the imminent reaction.
Reaction to what?
The high concentration of energy you just absorbed. The human body was not meant to process such large quantities of energy. At least, that has certainly been the trend with someone from Terra.
Amelia's gaze bores into me and she emphasizes the word Terra. And she looks back down at her manipulator.
Although, 2 minutes have passed and there seems to be no sign of an adverse reaction.
Why does she sound so disappointed? Suddenly, Kara squeals as she gingerly picks up a rusty coin out of the remains of a leather satchel.
This is a genuine Vestin coin!
Zach glances at the coin and folds his arm, clearly unimpressed.
How much could a rusted out, dated coin be worth?
About a few hundred gold pieces.
Zach's demeanor instantly changes.
You don't say.
Kara smoothly pockets the satchel as Zach covertly searches the room. As Kara finishes up her inspection of the room, Leanna looks around.
Well, since we found what we came for, we should head back.
Kara nods and leads the way out. As we leave the room, we notice the fire which had previously glowed in front of the barrier is now gone, but all of our items are still intact. Hey! Nothing was burned in here.
Curious. Then it can be assumed that the purpose of this trial was not to destroy our possessions, but to test our willingness to sacrifice.
Kara happily scoops out her coin purse.
I'm not complaining.
Leanna smiles in relief as she reaches in and quickly collects what looks like a ring attached to a thin chain.
Let's keep going.
The rest of us snatch up our items and continue back out of the corridor. See, we get through into Pongo and it would have been fine. The trek out of the temple is a lot faster and easier than the trek in, mostly because there were no more obstacles to stop us. We pop out of the same hidden wall in which we entered. Just as before, the main ceremonial hall is empty. We wave goodbye to the couple of monks sweeping the entryway, then begin to walk back to the village. I do feel a little bit like talking. Sure, let's talk to the Vestins. No, well, let's see. What's your? I actually do want to know what the theory is with that. I approach Amelia. So, the theory that you mentioned in the temple about the woman, what was it? Amelia glances at
Given
me.
the location and circumstances previously described by Odorism, my estimation is that the unknown woman you encountered was a projected image of the fire elemental. Of course, as I could not observe her myself, I cannot be certain.
Do you think that's why she wouldn't talk back? Also, why wouldn't she just show up in person?
The amount of energy needed to sustain just an appearance of the elemental would have drained the temple completely. There would have been no energy left for her to give to you.
Is that why she disappeared right after?
The depletion of energy in the temple would have meant she'd no longer be sustained in this world.
Amelia looks thoughtful.
Although, it is quite unusual that she would have you absorb the energy to begin with.
I see. No wonder she was so hot. Oh, god damn it. Okay, I gotta say that. That explains why she was so hot. Amelia looks at me curiously.
I assume, as the elemental of fire, it would only be appropriate that her being is imbued with the essence of her element.
Hmm.
Naturally, That must mean her touch was hotter than average.
It certainly got the blood rushing, if you know what I mean. God damn it. She stares straight at me.
I do not. Please elaborate.
Oh, she's mad now. This is awkward. Just that when she touched me, suddenly all that energy rushed in and definitely got the adrenaline going.
Yes, I suppose that would happen.
You look thoughtful.
Still, it is quite perplexing that she would only reveal herself to you.
It's not just me. The Pongo saw her too, I think. He didn't really make it clear if he was seeing her or just the fox thing.
The Guardian.
Huh?
The fox would be the guardian of the fire temple. Each temple has its own guardian who protects it.
Oh. So how come the Guardian didn't attack us or break it into the temple?
We did not break in. The guardian enforces the trial in the temple. Only those who are able to complete the trials are welcome into the temple.
In this case, that magical fire we had to put our stuff in? Amelia nods, still deep in thought. Are you still trying to figure out why no one else can see the elemental? She nods again. Any theories?
As of now, I do not have one. But perhaps after some further research.
Her voice trails off and she falls back into deep thought. Alright, cool. So we actually get to ask both questions. I fall in step with Kara. Or Kara. So, who exactly were the Vestins? Damn it.
They were the original tribe of Ember Mist, and the initial keepers of the Fire Temple.
Did they build the temple? Kara shrugs.
It depends on who you ask. Some experts believe they did. Others think the temple was already there by the time the Vestins came about.
Interesting. Now I'm curious. How'd you get into treasure hunting? She paused just a little too long before flashing me her usual cheerful grin.
I just sort of fell into it, honestly. Treasure hunting naturally fit into my nomadic lifestyle.
Where did you learn all of the history to even identify relics?
You'd be surprised how much you pick up along the way, especially after you realize what a lucrative business this can be.
So you're just in it for the money?
I didn't say that. I'll admit that at first I was just in it for the money. But the more I learned about the ancient people of Asaria, the more invested I became in the history of each relic I found. I started to find myself daydreaming about who might have used the items I found. What kind of person were they? Did they cherish this item, or was it just another piece of their ever-growing collection of stuff?
You're more than meets the eye. Yeah, I'm gonna say you're more than meets the eye. That's actually kind of nice. I had no idea Kara had this side to her. That's surprisingly deep. Kara raises an eyebrow.
I'm full of layers.
Like an onion. I look her up and down and take in her barely there attire. Not from what I can see. Jesus! She smirks.
Metaphorically speaking.
Ah, right. Kara, Zach, and Amelia lead the way back to Embermist while I lag behind. The Pongo sits on my head. Lana notices my absence and falls into step with me. She pats the Pongo, who ignores her, still too focused on energy around me. Leanna pouts and shakes away the Pongo's disregardance of her and focuses her attention on me.
Something on your mind?
I drop my voice low so the others can't hear me. Now that I've collected the energy from the temple, that means I can try to create a temporal rift and go back home, right? Kara stops, then whirls around the faces. Zach and Amelia stop with her.
Pardon me, you were speaking very softly and it was a little hard to hear, but it sounded like you just said you need to open a temporal rift to go back home? But that can't be right, can it?
Geez, this woman's got some supersonic hearing. I glance at Leanna, who looks alarmed. About that. Kara's smile falters at my hesitance, but Amelia looks excited.
I knew it. My hypothesis is correct.
Hypothesis? What hypothesis?
My hypothesis that he is from a parallel world.
Leanna's eyes grow wide and she forces a panicked smile.
I think all this parallel world and temporal rift talk has been getting to you. I mean, Elder Isum said it's impossible.
He has already admitted it.
What? Leanna and I have been careful not to say anything. When?
The day of our acquaintance.
I rack my brain, but don't remember bringing that up around Amelia.
You sought out Professor Xavier's guidance, and after he imparted his advice, you and Leanna had a brief discussion in which you mentioned that what he had suggested was exactly what happened to you. Thus began my hypothesis that you arrived from a parallel world.
Leanna looks at me, unsure how to react. Why would I deny it? I feel like I gotta answer carefully here, and I think we will go with... Let's kind of go on the defense. Let's do damage control. Does nobody understand the word privacy around here? Y'all have a problem with eavesdropping.
It's not eavesdropping if you're speaking loud enough for me to hear.
Got
Do
him.
not change the subject at hand.
Oh shit. Leanna sighs.
She already knows.
Not from Terra, huh?
Zach looks me up and down and nods to himself.
That's a lot better than the alternative.
What's the alternative?
That you might be... unique.
Zach!
He shrugs.
You didn't even know what a discharger was.
Basically, he's calling me stupid.
At least if he's from another world, that explains why he didn't know these things.
Kara looks skeptical.
How did he get here?
There have been unexplainably high concentrations of energy popping up throughout Isaria, and he happened to show up at one of those areas. We went to the Mage Academy to get some answers, and that's how we came up with the possibility that the high energy readings were temporal rifts, and somehow he had traveled through one. Why or how those rifts were even opened, we still don't know.
But if they're the only way for me to get back home, then I have to try to open one. Kara shrugs.
Let's just make sure you attempt to open one far away from where I'm standing.
That might be tricky considering no one knows how to open one. We may need to talk to Elder Isam.
That won't be necessary. I know how to do so already.
We all stare at her. How do you know that?
The directions are located in Elder Isam's old research notes, which I had gathered from the Academy. The spell itself is a simple conjuration, which even an amateur could do.
An amateur can open a temporal rift? Then why isn't everyone doing it?
The impossibility of the spell comes from the fact that the human body cannot manipulate the amount of energy needed for it.
She pauses and points to me.
He may be an exception.
I squirm slightly as their gazes fall on me.
Given that you have absorbed energy directly from the temple, which should also be an impossibility, I must assume that there is something within you which can possess the high amount of magic without suffering consequences. Perhaps it is a skill which you acquired from your world.
My world doesn't have magic. Amelia blinks.
Regardless, only a short amount of time has passed. There is plenty of time for you to still internally combust.
A wave of unease makes my stomach queasy. Maybe I should open up this rift now before that has a chance to happen. Amelia grins with excitement. Hey, she's actually
I
smiling.
concur with that suggestion.
That may be the best now that you have the magic.
Zach shrugs and Kara takes a look at her open surroundings.
Maybe we should first look for a spot with a bit more cover. We don't want to be opening up rifts on an open pathway.
Good point.
There was some tree cover towards the west.
We mumble our affirmations and follow Zach towards the trees. We settle into the grove of trees. Both Leanna and Amelia stand on either side of me. Zach selects the tree far enough away to not be affected by any stray magic, but close enough to get a good view of what's going on. Kara, on the other hand, hangs back towards the outskirts of the trees. Zach looks back at her, an amused smile on his lips.
You'll miss the show from back there. You sure you don't want to come any closer?
Kara's voice is distant.
Yep.
There's a bit of movement, she takes another step back behind a tree. I want to be next. Oh, let's fuck with her. I want to be close to her. There's no way she can see anything from there. I can barely see her. I take a few steps closer to Kara.
Stop right there.
But you can't see anything from there.
On the contrary, I can see all I need from here.
She can at least see if other people will stumble upon us from there.
Oh, yeah, a lookout. That's exactly what I meant.
I'm sure it has nothing to do with her wanting to stay out of the splash zone.
Leanna furrows her brow.
Temporal rifts don't splash.
No, but people do.
Zach?
He looks innocent.
What?
Leanna frowns. Amelia studies the notes, then nods to herself and snaps the book shut.
The casting is quite simple. It is the same technique as any other cast.
Leanna looks at me.
Are you ready?
I nod. Amelia glances at my stance and frowns.
Your stance is incorrect. Straighten your spine.
I lengthen my spine and stand as straight as I can.
Now you are too tense. Keep yourself relaxed, but do not slump.
Okay. I release some of the tension in my back. She's about to speak again, but Leanna gently pulls Amelia to the side.
Okay, I think he gets it.
She steps in front of me and gives me an encouraging smile.
Your stance is fine. Just remember to raise your arms in front of you.
I do as she says, and she nods.
Now, the actual casting part is gonna sound tricky. You'll need to focus your mind on the spell you want to cast.
So I should just think about temporal rifts?
Yes, but you need to connect that thought with the magical energy. Clear your mind of every thought.
I close my eyes and push away all of my doubts and confusion and focus on Leanna's voice.
Now, think about the rift that you wish to create.
I imagine tearing a hole in the fabric of reality. I don't actually know what a rift would look like or feel like. All I remember is the bright light. Should I focus on that light?
At the same time, sense for the magic within you.
I try to sense for any kind of magic, but nothing feels out of the ordinary. How do I know where the magic is?
It'll feel like a tendril or willing warmth. When you find it, reach out for it and grab hold. The magic is eager to be used and will latch on.
Okay, let's keep going. We're already perverted as it is. Let's keep going. If only women are so eager for me to reach out and grab hold, but just like my women, the magic still eludes me. I sigh sadly.
Are you okay?
Yeah. I was just concentrating a little too hard. Oops, I got a little too distracted. Time to get back to business. Reluctantly, I clear my mind and let go of the thoughts of Leanna, then focus on sensing for the magic.
Once you find the magic, connect your thoughts of the rift with the magic, and then channel both the magic and the thoughts through your hands to cast it in the open.
I continue sensing, hoping to find even a hint of warmth. But how do I know if it's just my own warmth or the magic? Sweat beads on my temples as I strain to cast, but nothing happens. Eventually, my arms grow weary and my mind is exhausted. I decompress with a sigh. It didn't work.
It's okay, we can try again. People aren't usually able to cast on their first try.
I mentally groan. The idea of doing all that again does not thrill me. There must still be something I'm missing.
It just takes some getting used to. Plus, you're trying to cast without a manipulator.
Oh yeah, both you and Amelia use manipulators to cast. Maybe that's why I wasn't able to do it.
Well, the manipulator's function is to house the energy source for us to cast with. Technically, because you already have the energy within you, you shouldn't need a manipulator.
Oh.
But this is all theory anyway. It may be easier trying to cast using a crystal, especially for a first-time caster.
Regardless, there could be a multitude of factors for why this attempt was not successful. One for which could be as simple as the fact that you still did not possess enough energy to open the rift.
Shouldn't the temple have had enough?
Theoretically, perhaps, but a significant portion of the energy was already being used to sustain the elemental's image. She was able to transfer what was left of the energy to you, which from my readings was only 20% of the total energy in the temple when we started.
Suddenly, Kara is standing right beside us, as cheerful as ever.
That sounds like you all still need to explore some more temples.
I jump at her presence. Even Leanna and Amelia seem surprised to see her so close. Only Zach is unaffected. How did you get here so fast? She grins at me.
Am I wrong?
The Pongo jumps out of Kara's arms and hops into mine. I pat him on the head and he wiggles contentedly, licking the air around me.
So it could be that he doesn't know how to cast, or that he doesn't have enough energy.
Sure, but what does that mean for you all in terms of next steps? Are you going to hang out in Ember Mist until he learns how to cast?
It could take him weeks before he can even cast the simplest of spells. That is quite a long time to rely on someone else's hospitality.
It sounds like it would still be in your best interest to visit at least one more temple just to be sure you have enough energy. You can teach him how to cast on the way, so by the time he gets there, he'll be ready to go.
Leanna looks thoughtful.
Does seem like the better option than the alternative.
If that's the fastest way to get me back home, then I'm not opposed to having all our bases covered. Amelia nods.
That is the most efficient course of action. If we can mitigate any uncertain factors, then we can pinpoint where the weakness is and adjust accordingly for a successful cast. The research this will provide will be very informative.
Hearing Amelia's affirmation, Zach shrugs.
Since I'm here to protect Amelia, I go where she goes.
Kara smiles broadly and slings her arms around Zach and Amelia, much to their dismay.
Great. Then our arrangement is still on.
Hey!
Zach moves out of Kara's grasp. She smirks.
Most men would be thrilled to have a pretty woman hug them. Right, Amelia?
That is correct. A healthy physique is inherently attractive for potential mates.
Kara lets go and starts to lead the way out of the forest.
We should spend the night in Ember Mist. We can plan our next steps there.
Once we are in agreement, we follow Kara back to Ember Mist. Upon arriving, we head to the inn.
We can spend the night here. I'll meet you back down in the lobby in a few minutes.
She ventures upstairs while we secure 2 rooms with the innkeeper. As we receive our keys, Amelia excuses herself.
I wish to seek an audience with Elder Issam and continue our discussion. I would be remiss to let such an opportunity pass.
He seems like a good guy, but maybe we keep the fact that I'm not from here a secret.
Yes, that is something in which we are in agreement.
Oh, okay. She nods and leaves the inn. The decor of the inn is very similar to Elder Issam's hut. Pillows and rugs line the ground as a few people sit cross-legged in front of the fire. A few tables line the other side of the lobby, all of which are empty. In fact, aside from a couple of people chatting by the fire, this place is very empty. Once I sit down, I feel fatigue pass over me, but I try to shake it off. I guess I don't see too many visitors here.
For a city that's supposed to be so secret, that's not surprising. It's more surprising that they have an inn.
I nod and stifle a yawn. We sit at the table as Zach orders us dinner. After a few minutes, Kara returns.
Where's Amelia?
She went to go speak with Elder Issam. She nods. My eyelids droop, and I'm stifling yawns every few minutes. My limbs feel like leaded weights, and it's taking all of my effort to sit upright. After I let out a wide yawn, Leanna glances over at me.
Maybe you should go to bed. We're winding down anyway, so it'd be a good idea to get some rest.
I nod blearily. That sounds really good right now. I guess absorbing all that energy really takes it out of you, huh? Leanna smiles at my joke.
It would seem so.
Regardless, I'm grateful for the excuse to leave. I trot upstairs and fumble with the key before opening the door. Then I fall onto one of the twin cots and pass out as soon as my head hits the pillow. And that's where we're gonna call it a day for right now. So we're gonna save. Let's make sure we saved it. guess we'll save it right there. So right there, okay. So thank you all so much for tuning in. Again, I really want to finish the story, and I like the fact that they actually have voice actors and stuff, so it's pretty cool. You know, nice graphics, nice animations. Interesting storyline. Very long story, so well worth the money. But anyways, I'll catch y'all later. See ya. What the fuck's in the extras? Ooh. Oh, no. I accidentally almost joined the Discord. I just wanted to click it and see what would happen. Oh, I remember these. What? They actually have multiple ones in each one? That's awesome. And there's hella of them we still gotta unlock. Jesus Christ. Alrighty, well, good night.